Are you dreaming of opening your own brick and mortar studio space? I need you to know that there are some hidden costs that you may not be thinking about. So we're going to go over all the costs that I took on when I moved into this space 1 year ago. Monique here of Silver Paw Studio, founder of Pro Pet Photog, and this is actually my second studio space here in town. And so when I got this space, I thought, perfect, I have everything I need. Maybe a little bit of storage issues, but no problem. No, I'm gonna tell you right up front, I just totaled up everything and it cost me $3,000 to move into this space. It did. And you know, looking at that now, I think, well, that's not that much, but I paid double rent for a month or so there. So it hurt a little bit last year when I first moved into this place, and some of the things I got later on in the year, but I'm very happy with it now. There are a few things though that you really should know about. I'm going to kind of walk you through and show you the things that I already had and the things that I chose to change or upgrade or add because of the way this space is laid out. Now at my last space, I did everything that I do here. It's about the same size, 400 square feet. You can watch my full tour here of this 400 square foot space, which has a shooting space and a client space. Now I have everything, it's configured differently in this space. So I was able to do things better, I think. And that included for me to upgrade some of my equipment. Let's start with the entryway. Now in the entryway, I share this entryway with the veterinary office that I share space with here. And so this is going to be a community entry space for both of us. But they weren't going to have any reception or anybody up front. They said, do what you want. Oh, yay. So I first of all got an indoor-outdoor carpet. There wasn't one there, or it was a little tore up from before. So I just got a really simple carpet, and that cost me $40, just a regular commercial carpet. And then I put the wooden wall into my Pro Select sales program and kind of tried to dream of what I want on that wall. I wanted an impact statement. When people first walk in, what are they going to see? But what I didn't have was an entry table. I wanted something dark, something pretty simple, but with a little bit of storage. And it took me a while to find one, but I actually found this one on Facebook Marketplace, and it only cost me $80. So the other ones I was looking at were several hundred. So I was really happy to find this entry table for $80 and still have plenty of room above it to hang a cool display. The other thing I needed in that space was a little kind of bookshelf in the corner. And so I was able to find this kind of half round one that I can put some books on, a little knickknacks, and my plant at the top, because I really like having a plant kind of nearby. And so that was combined. So I don't remember how much exactly that was, because I bought it with 2 other pieces of equipment at the local furniture store. So I'll tell you the grand total on that in a minute, but that was the least expensive piece of furniture I had to buy. And the rest of the entry, up above the windows, the evening light blares in. So instead of having curtains, I put 4 big prints up into the windows. And I talked about that in my DIY studio setup. But what they are is pieces of foam core with heavy duty Velcro, Velcro sticking it to the windows. And then we printed some square prints, which I think are 15 by 15 inch prints on our big Canon printer at home, and adhered those. So those are up in the window for the sun. So that was another expense. And I want to say, oh gosh, that was probably $40, $50, maybe a little bit more, because we already had the paper and the ink for the printer. So that one is probably a little cheaper than it could have been. Curtains there would be at least that much. So that's what I added to the entryway. And we walk into the studio. The very first thing that you saw when you walked into the space to begin with was a giant green wall, dark green, really pretty, but I did not want that reflecting into my subjects in the photography area. So I invested in paint, and I got a paint that was a paint and primer all in one. And I spent a couple of evenings in here painting a couple of coats of paint on this wall. So I had to buy the gallon of paint, and I had some painting supplies at home. I think I bought some extra tape, something. I bought a little extra something and spent some time in here. So it was probably, I would say painting was probably around $100 because I got pretty high-end paint, but I did only paint that wall. The rest of the walls were kind of an off-white, which I matched. So I only had to paint the one wall. So that was nice, but that was essential. So you'll probably need to do that if you move into a space, is paint it because of the way that we use these spaces. Also on that side of the room, there is a curtain behind the backdrop, and we had to get a special curtain rod and stuff like that. I already had the curtain from the older studio, so that was maybe $20 or $30 total to put the curtain up back there because I already had the curtain. And then I realized, and so that was probably 20 bucks. And I realized in the entry in the outside of the building, I forgot to tell you, you probably saw in my previous video, I've got this acrylic sign that hangs in the window that I can swap out 12 by 12 prints about my studio. So I put that together, and that window sign was about $40 on Amazon. So there's that sign. But also on the outside, I had a company, the same company who did my car vinyl stickers, put all of my paw prints and my studio information on all the big windows here and the door here at the studio. So that was actually $500. So that was a big part of my budget, and I could have waited on that. But because we're in this place with a lot of other businesses and it was already branded to the veterinary office, I didn't want people to be confused. So I tell people, look for the paw prints and the Silver Paw logo. Also in the shooting area, I have my bench I've had for 15 years, a faux leather bench, really like that, but I wanted a couple other pieces. So I ended up finding this wicker outdoor bench and my big square gray ottoman at the Goodwill. So I found those at Goodwill, intending to trade out the ottoman at some point, but those things are kind of expensive. I want a 36-inch square ottoman, and what I'd like is to get something with faux leather and no seams and none of the little pockets, just flat, and it doesn't even have to open. So eventually I'll get something like that that's easier to clean off, but it's also still neutral. But, you know, for the last year I've used that gray cloth ottoman, and I just, you know, make sure that all the hair is gone and it's fine, and the wicker bench. And honestly, the wicker bench I think I've used once, maybe twice, so I will probably end up taking that home to use it at home. But those two things at the Goodwill were $70 total. So I think one was $20, one was $50. So pretty good deal. In my ottoman, I store extra blankets and a small backdrop, a cloth backdrop in there. So there's a lot of room. I could put more things in there. I had to add a buckle on there to keep the front from popping open every time I moved against the wall. But you can see how I did that in a different video. I also really wanted to host coffee meetings here. So every Tuesday morning from 8 to 9, as I set up my studio, I invite people in for coffee, tea, cocoa, and I originally bought a little regular coffee pot, but very quickly I realized I'm making a whole pot every Tuesday and maybe one other person would show up. So my sister gave me her Keurig, and so now I've got her Keurig, but my original coffee pot was $35. It's just your basic off-the-shelf from Target, and then some inexpensive coffee. So that was important to me to have the coffee station here for clients and for my Tuesday kind of drop-in networking time. So I did add that to my budget. I also added a full-length mirror to the wall in the bathroom down the hall because people are in my photos a lot too. So that is a place they can change, they could freshen up, and they can see how they look fully in their outfit. So that was, again, I think a Goodwill purchase for about 10 bucks. So that was pretty inexpensive, but as a photography studio, those are the kind of things you need to really think about. And then on the client side, kind of the living room side of my studio, I decided to move up from my little LED, my little USB monitor that I used to hook up to my laptop to show people their photos, and now I have a TV. So I bought this TV at Best Buy, and I probably could have gotten away with a bigger one, but I had measured my space and thought that this would be perfect size, and it's actually a little bit smaller than I could have gotten. And the TV really wasn't too bad. It was $463, and it has a USB. So all I do, oh, I forgot to add this on there. I have a little table for my laptop that sticks right in the corner that I got on Marketplace for $25. I put my laptop over there. I bought a USB cable, a long one, and so my Pro Select will go right onto the TV. So I like that better. It's really nice for the clients to walk in and see their pictures on this TV. I think it's a 43-inch TV, so I could have got a little bit bigger. But the cabinet the TV's on, I already had from my previous studio space. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna use that. It'll work perfectly. And then also in this client area, I have a futon couch in a neutral gray that people can sit on to see the TV, and this gray chair. And I originally got the futon because I liked that it was fairly minimal and it folds down as a platform that I can just move into the studio space. But what I have found the one time I tried that is I have to be careful that I have it the right way, and then it's finicky to move up and down, and it's just very difficult to move around. So I'm kind of thinking I'm gonna get rid of the futon. It's not doing what I was hoping it would do. I wanted like a nice cushy area for a whole family to sit, like 2 big dogs can lay on there and 2 people. And I did try that, but it was so big, the big active dogs were just having so much fun just bouncing around, kind of like a big bed, that it didn't contain them enough. And it was honestly too big for 2 people and 2 big dogs. So I have my futon still, but I think I'm gonna swap it out for a nice pretty couch that I can also pull in here that could be kind of a cool look, for a different look for photos. And then I had a different gray chair that my husband wanted at home, and I said I want a different chair anyway, so I got this kind of neutral gray bucket chair also that I sit in a lot and clients do, and I use all the time in the studio space. So things have to have 2 different uses. I do have a little blue chair back there that's kind of a desk chair that I also use in the studio that I had at my previous space, and a lot of the little storage boxes and things I already had. So there's that. I do have a 5x7 carpet here that I got at Target for like $80, but I had that years before. So I don't add that. I'm not adding that to this move-in cost. But during the fall, I went ahead and got a second one that's a darker tone so I can change them out and have carpets in 2 places. It just helps. The dogs like the carpets, and it gives a warm feel to it. So when we're talking about the couch, the chair, and that half round bookshelf, I got those all at the same furniture store, and I had them deliver it here and put it together for me. And that, for those 3 things, was only $471. A couch, a chair, and a bookshelf. So I thought that was a pretty good deal. I was trying to be budget friendly. Now, the last thing I want to talk to you about that was a huge purchase that I did over time was 3 new sets of samples. Now, my last studio did not have good walls to put my samples on. I couldn't group them how I wanted. So again, I got Pro Select out, and I dreamed up what I wanted these walls to look like and what my packages are. So I have 3 different wall groupings that people can purchase in 3 different finishes. So that's what I wanted to do. Back in the entryway, over that couch table, that console table, I've got my big 5-image set that is on canvas. And so when I talk to people about that particular collection, I can say it's just like this. And then in the studio on the wall here, I've got a 4-image set that is framed. And so I can show people that. And then on this wall, I have a 3-image set on bamboo. So people can see how these look everywhere. And they come in different sizes, but I just got kind of mid-range sizes. Over there, I do have my word cloud. That's a window, a wall cling too. That was around $80, and I forgot to put that on the list, but that happened after I moved in. So the bigger expense was those 3 big sets. So we've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 sample prints. And I tried to get those when White House Custom Color was doing their sample sales. So I was able to get all those for $1,110. So that was my biggest expense by far, was these samples. But I tell you, I've already sold 1 of each. Yeah, so it is worth it. So just one client buying one paid for them all. All the like hidden costs of moving into a studio space. I already had some of these things. Some of these you can just grab from your home. I have some old TV trays I'm using from home, baskets I've had from home. There's some things that you could use from home when you get into your first studio space, but be considering all these other things that you need. There are other things as a pet photographer you need, like water bowls, towels, things to clean up, but I already had those. I did change out, I forgot to tell you, I changed out one little cabinet. I had a rolling cabinet, and later on I changed it out for this one. So you'll have to go and watch the whole full tour, the 400 square foot tour, but the initial things that I needed when I first moved in was that $3,000 worth of equipment and about a month to set it all up in here, to paint, to get the furniture delivered, everything. So I did pay double rent for that time, so you'd have to add on that too, but I wasn't adding that into here. Oh my gosh. So there you go. Those are the hidden costs of moving into a studio space. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. And as always, I wish you many woofs, purrs, and TREATSs.